What are some of the challenges of being a CEO and a founder within a company?
Yeah, well, there's lots, right? It's never ending. Ask any CEO. And it's a constant battle, and you just have to keep attacking it. Look, I think leadership's super interesting right now, especially in today's market and today's demographic. Things have changed. I think they're different post-COVID than they were beforehand. Maybe a couple of years before COVID, they were starting to pivot. But what I've noticed is that, people are just hypersensitive.
Yeah.
Like just hypersensitive. So leadership styles have to change. Now, we don't want them to change. Like all the CEOs and us, we all get together and we talk about that. We don't want it to change because we want a strong workforce. But people are just hypersensitive right now. You could call them Democrats, I don't know, or far left, I don't know. But whatever it is, they're hypersensitive and, they say things like, that's not my job, or that's not my responsibility, or, they take a lot of time off. If you look at some of the numbers, research is saying that people take more time off now, more than, well, look, there's some ambiguity around the numbers, but it's around 20 to 30% more than they did before COVID. So just think of that. Like if that was factual, I tend to think that it probably is just from my experience. If people are taking off 30% more time from work due to fake sickness, right? How does that impact the business, right? What do you have to change in your leadership, your management, the metrics that you look at, the balance sheet, OPEX, all that stuff? You have to see things differently now. Like, people are taking more time off. Now, this whole work from home thing, now I get it, and I know that, Trump and his new cabinet are wanting to take everyone back to work, and they probably should, because I think they went too far with it, right? They went too far with it. And what happened is they lost productivity, and it started in the public sector, and then it moved into the private sector, where they thought, private enterprise thought, okay, well, if American governments, federal and state, are doing this, we should do it too, right? So they led, maybe Sleepy Joe Biden was the one, or maybe it was, you could probably blame the left for that. It could have been, look, it could have been Obama. Look, there were all these things going on where, they thought that was a right of the employee. It's not, all right? It's ridiculous. It's not a right of the employee. The company pays the wages. The company sets the rules and regulations and T's and C's around it. It's got nothing to do with the employee. Now, if the company wants to provide employees with the opportunity to work from home, great, do that. But as a CEO, you have to be responsible for the P&L. So if you want to get all warm and fuzzy and get a marshmallow tummy and you want to feel good about yourself and you don't know how to measure it, well, that's foolish. Like, you shouldn't be a CEO, because it's sort of bullshit. Because, here's what I know is that every time I hear a CEO say that, oh, look, our productivity went up, I say, prove it, and they can't. They cannot prove it, because a CEO who makes that decision to do that will also make the decision not to measure it. Why? Because they think it's breaching people's rights. And I think that's bullshit. If I'm going to have people work from home, I want to know if they're being productive. So how do you do that? Well, you could use data to do that, right? Keystroke data, ensure they're logging on at the right times. They would have KPIs. They'd have more stringent rules around KPI achievement. There'd be certain check-ins. You have to get good at virtuals. You have to have the right software and all that sort of stuff. Because if you were going to trust somebody, the majority of people will let you down. Why? Because people lie. Now, because it is just too much temptation to walk down to the bakery and get a meat pie or a sausage roll, and then take the dog for a walk an hour later. Yeah. Then do the washing 30 minutes later. Then your mum drops by, so you have to have a cup of tea with her. Yeah. Come on, man. Like, seriously, how could you run a business like that? It's a bit of a joke, really. Like, so, and I get the left, it's people's rights. It's not people's rights. It's the company's decision, So if I pay you $120,000 a year and you want to work from home and I say no, well, you need to go work somewhere else, right? Look, there are some exceptions to the rule, right? Like, I think you have to have commercial empathy, sure. I think you need to do the right thing, sure. If it's someone who's been in the business a long time and there's a situation that, they've had a baby or whatever it may be, or they have a sick mother, sure. I'm not saying don't do that, but what I'm saying is, don't be a walkover, right? There's CEOs who do it just because they think they should, and not for any valid reason, because they haven't conducted an analysis of it, and they're doing it just because everyone else does it. Well, God, why would you do that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So every time I hear CEOs say that, I always ask them to prove it, and they throw a whole bunch of stuff at you. I think that's bullshit, because you're not measuring the metrics. That's just emotional. You're just telling me what you think is happening. You don't actually know what's happening, because I don't know many people who could be autonomous and be more productive. Because if they were, why are they not the CEO or the business owner? Because that's an entrepreneurial trait, dude. Those people run hard and break things. They're not sitting at home, putting together your spreadsheets for you, right? Here's the thing I noticed: when people work from home, a selected few call rates and activity went up, very selected few, but the majority went down, right? Because no one's there to hold them accountable. Without accountability, it's very difficult to manage a company stably, because people get distracted. Man, they're chasing unicorns. And not just any unicorn, all of the unicorns. Like, they see a unicorn walk by and it's a chocolate covered unicorn, that breathes candy floss. And they jump on the unicorn, they start riding the unicorn through the forest, And then they say, oh, I love this unicorn. I'm going to invite this unicorn to come and stay with me. And then the unicorn has babies. Now there's more unicorns in their life, and now they're chasing all these different things. So, they're unicorn chasers. I'm a unicorn hunter. I kill those unicorns because I don't need them being distracted with dumb stuff, right? So, look, that was a bit of a rant, but I just think it's annoying. I find it super annoying that, people, they come into an interview and they think they have a right that, oh, what, you guys don't offer that? Oh, well, that's weird. Why not? It's like, what? When did this happen? So, I'm sort of on the right about this. I believe in what the Republicans are saying about this. I think that, look, great. I think there should be an exception to the rule for specific people who are high performers, who have earned it. You have to earn it. It's not an entitlement, people. You're not entitled to do that. You have to earn that. Trust and respect, consistency, results. Remember those results. Isn't that what a CEO is there to deliver, is results? They're not there to deliver happiness. Like, CEOs are not the happiness police. No, they're the results orientated police, or Navy SEALs. Maybe that's a better term. So yeah, look, I don't know, man. It's sort of it's sort of not great. I think it's affecting businesses and they don't realize it, but they probably feel good about themselves, right? No, I'm a really super nice guy. Yeah, that's great. And the company's going out of business. Like, seriously, people. So that's my take on leadership at the moment. I think we've got a lack of strong leaders in the market. I think a lot of leaders are really weak right now. It gives a good opportunity for leaders like me who are strong leaders. We wolves as opposed to sheep, I guess. So we should go harder in the market, because we can probably take some of that market off the guys who are not so strong now, or the girls. So, and this applies to both men and women. I'm not just talking about men here. Like, women are super strong. Like, and some of them probably make better CEOs than men. So, look, that's my take on leadership in the market right now. I think it's a bit of a joke. We need better leaders in our politicians, in our cabinets, in our state governments. They're all pretty weak. Like, the country's not doing great things right now. It could be doing so much better. We have a lot of opportunity, but they simply don't have the balls to do anything with it, right? So, and they're just full of bureaucracy and administration. That's sort of bull. So I'm sort of over it. But anyway, that's that. That's my take. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.